Hi computer scientists, Mr. Stafford here, and today I wanted to show you Unit 6, Lesson 3, using array lists to store data. The first level that we're on says declare and initialize an array list called numbers to contain integers using the default constructor. So this is going to be an array list, and we're going to hold integers, so capital I integer, and we need to name it numbers. And it's going to equal a new array list, and it's going to hold integer, and then don't forget the two parentheses afterwards, and we'll run this to see if we have any errors. And that's how we declare an array list that holds integer objects. Click finish. The next level has us declare and initialize an array list called prices to contain doubles with a capacity of 12. So this array list, I'll zoom in a little, is going to hold capital D double, and we need to name it prices, is going to equal a new array list double. And the parameters for the constructor, if we're going to have a capacity of 12 instead of the default of 10, we need to put it in there. And let's run this and make sure we don't have any errors. And we're good. And that's how you declare an array list of type double. Okay, we'll finish that. The next level has you predict what will happen in this program. So read through this code. Notice that we have an array list of type integer. Its name is numbers, and it's printing out the size of the list and the list contents. And then we are adding, so we're using the add method. And then we are printing out the size of the list again, and then the list contents. And then numbers dot add, so we have an overwritten add method. Overloaded add method, where we have two parameters this time. And so try to predict what is going to get printed out, and then run your program. And when we run it, we see that this is what's getting printed out. When we first create the array list, it's of size 0, and the list contents is empty. There's nothing in it. Next, we're going to add 30 and 21, and then we print the size of the list. The size of the list is 2 because we have added 30 and 21, and the contents are in that order, 30 and then 21. Next, after we add using this overloaded add method, at index 0, we're going to add 40. So that's why we have 40 at index 0. We're going to add 37, and we see that 37 is added at the end of our list. So whenever we add, it's appended to the end of our list. And then we have added at index 1 the number 29. So when we have this overloaded add method, first it's going to be the index, and then it's going to be the object that we want to add at that index. And then everything that's in the list gets, on the right hand side, gets scooted over. Okay, so that's why we end with 40, 29, 30, 21, and 37. Click finish. Next it says look at the constructors and methods available in the file class in the Java API. So if you open this up in another tab, you can take a look at the constructors and the methods that you have available in that class. And then it says in myConsole.java, so I'm in myConsole.java, declare and initialize a file object called survive from the text file. So our text file is I will survive. And so I go back to my console, and I need to make a file object. So I'm going to say file, and it asks me to name it survive equals a new file. And so what I need to do is determine, using these constructors, and I'll zoom in a little bit, what constructor I actually need so that I can create file object. So what I have is file parent child, file string path name, file parent child, and then file URI. So I'm going to use the path name, and I see that that data type is a string. So I'm going to make I will survive.txt as a string. Don't forget my semicolon. Run this, see if I have any errors. And I don't have any errors, but currently word list is null. I haven't filled it with anything, and that's it for lesson 4. We will fill it with things on lesson 5. Lesson 5 says, look at the constructors and methods available in the scanner class in the Java API. So looking at the scanner class, we can flow down and see if we can't find some constructors. And I see that there's some constructors here, and so I have a scanner, and then I can read in a file, and then I have file source, string charset name, input stream, another input stream, and a string. So there's several different scanner constructors that are available to us, but right now I think that we're going to use the file source because I've made a file object. So then it says in datareader.java, in the constructor, so I need to flow to the constructor, which is right here. It says initialize the scanner instance variable using the file object parameter. Okay, so here's our file object parameter, and we're going to initialize the scanner object, which is called file input. So file input equals new scanner, and I'm going to read in new file. Okay. Part B asked me to initialize the ArrayList. So we have this ArrayList instance variable. Its name is textList, using the default constructor. So textList is going to be equal to a new ArrayList, and it's of type string. And default constructors open and close parentheses. And then it says write the createList method to add each line of the file to the ArrayList instance variable. Okay, so what I need to do here is in scanner, we have several different methods available to us. But some of the ones that we want to take a look at is hasNext, and we should have hasNextLine. And I do right here. So hasNextLine returns true if there's another line in the input of this scanner. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to populate an array list full of the text from the I will survive text file. So the way that I'm going to do that is with a while loop, because I want to loop through the entire I will survive text until I get to the end of it. And how I know that I will be at the end of it is that I will no longer have a next line. This returns true if there is another line in the input of the scanner. So what I'm going to do is while file input, which is that scanner, dot hasNextLine, that will return true all the way until I get to the end of the song, I will survive, and then it will return false. At that point, I will break out of my loop. But until then, I need to fill my textList.add with information from that scanner. So I'm going to say fileInput.next. And next, let's slow down to next, finds and returns the next complete token from this scanner. And what that token is going to be are the individual strings. So let's run this, see if there's any errors. And I have at first, I was afraid, I was petrified. Okay. And so that's it for Unit 6, Lesson 3, using ArrayLists to store data.